table gives some information about delays in minutes of 80 flights. We can see that 16 flights were delayed between 0 and 20 minutes, 26 flights were delayed between 20 and up to and including 30 minutes, and so on. Our task is to complete the cumulative frequency table, draw a cumulative frequency graph, find the median delay and the interquartile range delay. So we'll start off by filling in our cumulative frequency table. In fact, we won't start off with that, we'll do the modal first. Write down the modal class interval. Well, these are all your intervals. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 intervals. The modal class interval will be the one that had the highest frequency. So that's the highest frequency is 26. So the modal class interval is n is greater than 20, less than or equal to 30. So we'll just write that in. So a nice easy mark there. Now on to the cumulative frequency table. So the first frequency will be the same, it's exactly the same interval. The next one though, we're going from 0 to 30, so that includes the 0 to 20, so it's 16 and 26, and so on. So we can see we get the 65 from adding the 16, 26 and 23, and I've listed the numbers that I've added so you're completely clear where these numbers have come from. And always check that the number at the end, 80, equals the total number that you had given in the information at the start. Right, so now we need to draw the graph to get the estimates of the median delay and the interquartile range. So really when we put the graph in, we're plotting coordinates. We need to be absolutely sure where our coordinates come from. So we have an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. Now the x-coordinate, and this is the only sort of bit of data that does this, you have to plot the end for cumulative frequency, the end of the interval. In many other situations, like frequency polygon or mean from group frequency, we'll look for the midpoint, but not with cumulative frequency, it's the end. So our first point will be 20, and then the cumulative frequency is your y. So it'll be 2016, and the next one will be 30, 42, and so on. So when I plot these points, you'll see that they come from plotting the end of the interval with the cumulative frequency. So you can see I've marked in the points, so we've got 2016, 3042, 4065, 5075 and 6080. So we now need to draw a smooth curve through those points, which I'll now do. And now we can answer the questions on the median and the interquartile range. So the median comes from coming halfway down, so we had an 80 at the top. So half of 80 is 40, so we come across and read down. So on my graph, and there's always a little bit of variation, comes to 30. Probably except in the exam 28 to sort of 32, something like that. Now the interquartile range, we need to come across from the quarter of 80, which is 20, and read off. And again, just checking these scales, you can see that there's 1 square for every unit, so that's the lower quartiles coming out at 20. So we need the upper quartile, subtract the lower quartile. So come across and then down again. This is going to come down to just below. Well, that's not very good, is it? Let's try that again. Let's have to rub that out. Well, we won't worry about that. We'll just bring this line down and we can see that it would have come to just under 40, so let's say about 38. So my interquartile range is coming out at 18. Just to remind you, the interquartile range then is the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So my lower quartile is 22 and my upper quartile, ignore the squiggly line, we would have brought it down to about 38, 39. So we're saying 18, and again they'll allow a bit of variation on this. So I guess you'll be allowed anywhere between about 16 and 20 for the interquartile range. Okay, median 30 and interquartile range 18.